as a lot of you guys might have noticed, I have leveled up as a competitive player. And as you also know, I was stuck on the same level for a very long time. So today I thought, why not make a video on the things I did to finally break through and get over my initial skill cap. There are so many valuable lessons in today's video that I wish I knew sooner. So stick around until the end of the video to learn exactly what I did to significantly improve. Starting off, I've started fully trusting my instincts. Before leveling up, I used to have thoughts and ideas in fights and endgames about plays I wanted to make. Plays that instinctively felt like a great idea, but objectively might not have been the best of plays. What I've understood is that there are so many different scenarios in this game, and always doing the objectively right play is not always the solution to succeed. What I've understood more and more as time has progressed is that it doesn't matter how I win a fight as long as I win it. In the past, I would hold back on doing plays with the thought that I didn't want to throw for my teammates, plays that I had confidence in, but I knew objectively weren't great. I've understood that not taking a risk is the biggest risk of them all. And this is something I say to my duo all the time. If you die first in a fight, but you're the player who takes all the risks, plays aggressive angles, then you're not the one selling the game. The player who takes no risks and in return does nothing is the one who throws. There is always a risk going into fights, whether you want to accept that fact or not. And what you also need to understand is that good opportunities don't come often, not in fights and not in endgames. So when you see an opening to go for something, you should take it. This way, you control the fight instead of the opponent. This mentality alone has made me so much better in being impactful in duo tournament fights. The second thing that has drastically improved my abilities as a player is not tensing my arm and hand at all when aiming. Now, when building and editing, I tense a fair bit, but when I'm shooting, the tension is non-existent. As some of you OG viewers might know, I used to have a serious problem with very shaky aim. And this was because I held my mouse with a super tight grip. What I understood was that I needed to smooth out my aim, and in order to do that, I watched hours of tutorials on what it took to get rid of shaky aim. And one of the tutorials explained in detail why not applying any pressure to your mouse was the best fix for that particular problem. Learning to hold my mouse with a featherweight grip was not easy, and it honestly took quite a long time. But not only have I drastically become better at aiming, but I'm still improving every day I play. And it's something I can recommend to everyone watching, especially if you struggle with shaky aim like I did. Next up, what I did was I 100% stopped caring about how I looked as a player. Being a content creator, it's very easy to fall in the trap of trying to have an enjoyable playstyle. But what I realized was that attempting to have this content creator playstyle made me a much worse player. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate a little bit to what I'm saying, trying to look good when playing. But in reality, it does not matter. All that matters is that you eliminate the opponent. If you look like a flopper doing so, who cares? Slowing down and looking a bit worse was the best thing I ever did for my awareness in fights. My awareness over the opponent I'm fighting has gotten 10 times better, and I'm a much more consistent player as a result of that. Moving on, we have to talk on the importance of playing 1v1s and 2v2s against good players. This has been an immense factor in bringing my confidence up as a fighter. The main thing I play is realistics, but I've also done a fair share of 1v1 box fights against good players. There are many ways to find and play against good players. Most people who want to improve play wagers to ensure that the people they're playing are actually trying. And most of the time, people who play wagers are also good. Naturally, as an Epic partner, I am not going to promote wagers, nor would I ever think about playing wagers as it is directly against Epic's TOS. But do with the previously given information as you will. The way I've been finding players is by using Twitter and DMing random pros whenever they're looking for someone to play against, or by simply tweeting myself. By doing these friendly 2v2s and 1v1s, I've understood that the fighting fundamentals that I have compared to a pro are not that much different. I've gained loads of confidence and I've learned faster than ever what I can and can't do in 1v1s, 2v2s, and 2v1 situations. Coming in next, we have arguably the most important point in this video, and also the main reason behind my exponential improvement recently. And that is the fact that I've started listening to myself and started respecting my own opinion instead of listening to what others have to say. And do not get me wrong here. Listening to others is very, very important. But there are so many people in the Fortnite community who just say meaningless words. One example is when I qualify for a solo cash cup and I go to talk to my friend group. And everyone is talking about how they did. And this one guy proudly says, I didn't qual, but I got 50 elims. Like, it's a competition to get the most amount of elims. What I always said to myself before was, why didn't I get that many elims? But my recent mindset shift has been, why do I care about how many elims anyone gets? It literally does not matter. The only thing that matters, for me anyways, is the leaderboard placement at the end of a tournament. I don't care if I have 1 kill or 100 if I get a great placement that I can be proud of. And I always thought, because everyone is talking about the importance of W keying, that I had to W key in tournaments as well. But recently, I've really thought to myself, okay, I've tried this so many times and it hasn't worked. Let me switch it up and play full tournaments to my strengths, instead of hoping that one day it will be different. Listening to myself and trusting my own knowledge has made me an exponentially better competitive player. There's no one answer to how to succeed in tournaments. It all comes down to playing to your strengths and doing the absolute best you can. Talking about doing the absolute best you can, another mentality trait that has helped me drastically is the mentality that tournaments are only on for a few hours every week. And for those hours, I need to give it my all. In the past, I've often found myself getting mad and essentially getting a bit of a bad mental that throws my performances out of the window. But with my recent mentality of, okay, you're now given a great opportunity to prove yourself, do everything you can to succeed, I haven't raged once. In solos and duos, I always try to bring the vibes up. And doing so in solos can be brutal. But a lot of players don't understand that every tournament is a golden opportunity to achieve something. And additionally, a lot of players actually have what is needed to perform super well, but they just don't play to their strengths. Or they get mad or bored and throw the tournament as a result of it. The reason I never do this anymore is because I look back at my previous self who has been grinding. And I do not want to disrespect that man who's been putting in the hours. I want to be able to do my best and look back and see that I did not disrespect myself like that. Because honestly, guys, if you play the game for more than 20 hours a week and you throw a tournament because you start raging, you are disrespecting your previous self who's been putting in the hours and you just threw a tournament because of your crybaby mentality. The last thing I've done is playing an unhealthy amount of customs. As you all know, I have very limited talent, and to do well, I need to play long hours every single day. Playing customs is essential to improve consistency in tournaments. I spend most of my time playing no stone rule customs like Noble Div 3 or 2, and although it is not the most fun thing to do in the world, it is what it takes to improve our competitive. What you do in the customs is extremely important. I myself focus on trying different things every time I play. What a lot of people do wrong is that they play way too safe. What has been a blessing for me is playing as aggressively as humanly possible, because every time I do that in customs, I learn what I can and can't do in tournaments. It also allows me to go into the end games in the tournaments I play with supreme confidence, because in customs, people are really relaxed. Whilst in tournaments, people obviously play more seriously, and I kind of find it easier to play aggressively in tournaments compared to customs. But learning it in customs has helped me so much. That's it. The main reason for me breaching my skill cap was honestly the mentality topics I was talking about today. So I hope you found some value in today's video, and thank you so much for sticking around till the end.